Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Lovely to have you along for the ride. Wow, what a weekend. What a weekend. Yeah, the Eagles get a new backup quarterback. Josh Sweat says he's staying. They signed a new contract. You get a deal done with Josh Sweat. He looks like he's staying. Hassan Reddick looks like he could be on the outs now. You have a whole slew of press conferences, especially CJGJ talking about his apology. Who knew? You're obnoxious. That's a compliment. We'll let you hear it from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Aside from the apology and all that stuff, right? What was really interesting to me is about how born again. Like, that's what came to mind when I was watching him on Friday. Like, how amazingly focused this guy seems to be. And a little bit different in one regard. Still, like, he literally walked up to the podium singing Eminem. Guess who's back? Back again, right? And then he answers all the questions. He's great. Talks about how this is the place he wants to be, all the experience he had over the last year, what changed from this year to last year. That was my main question going into the press conference. It wasn't about the apology. It was about what was different. And I still haven't seen a full breakdown of what is different with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's new contract. But, wow. In terms of the attitude, I took myself out of it. We'll hear from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson as the show goes on today about what is different this time around with him signing with the Philadelphia Eagles, re-signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. When he was also one last thing before I move on. When he was asked about, has anybody reached out to you from the team? He was like, everybody. Like, the guy in himself, like, he is a vibe. He himself and him is a vibe. And is back with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm damn excited to have him back. Because you always want guys that have that type of attitude. Like, no matter what, they're going to overcome, they're going to win, and they're going to be cocky about it. Maybe overconfident at times, but they're going to understand that they're going to bring the attitude to that locker room. And, you know, you always want to have guys that are going to really push aside any type of collapse or horrible momentum that the Eagles established at the end of last season. And although Saquon Barkley makes me feel a lot better about not having that kind of end of the season like we had last year, it really helps you turn the page and get over it. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson certainly helps me turn the page and get over it. Still is amazing that happened. But having a guy like him here, having the talent of Saquon Barkley here, a guy that's hungry like Saquon Barkley, a guy that's hungry like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, like just take the Eagles out of it for a second and just look at the resume for a second of CJGJ. Super Bowl loss, conference championship loss, back-to-back years. Back-to-back years. That's a hungry guy. Already with the attitude that CJGJ has, that's a hungry guy. Even more hungry than when he left here. And as we've been told many times, hungry dogs run faster. Also, there's people talking about him playing a little bit more in the corner. Seen a couple of blurbs, I'll just call him that, on the old internet there. He identified himself as a safety Friday. I'm not a safety. I'm still one of the best young safeties in the league. All right, bring that. You bring that mojo back to that Eagles secondary. Happy to see it. We'll also get into Kenny Pickett. I can't believe this. The Eagles always want to have that good backup quarterback, and I give them all the credit in the world. And I really like Kenny Pickett, and I like Kenny Pickett being drafted by the Steelers, and I was, just in terms of rooting for good football, I wanted to see him do well. Didn't blow the doors off by any means. They got an opportunity to get Russell Wilson at a very cheap cost from Denver, where Denver's mostly paying him. I saw one of the reports was out there earlier this morning about how the Pittsburgh Steelers want to work out a long-term deal. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see how that goes for the Steelers. Because I just think Russell Wilson is done. I just think Russell Wilson is cooked. I'm out on Russell Wilson. So we'll see how that shapes out for Pittsburgh there. But in terms of what the Eagles are getting here, I found this to be interesting. So the Pittsburgh Steelers trade Kenny Pickett to the Eagles. They get a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a seventh-round pick next year. So we're looking at 3 picks there for Kenny Pickett to back up Jalen Hurts. What I got over the weekend, and I'll just jump into this right now because we're talking about the sexiest position you could possibly talk about, the quarterback position in Philadelphia, okay? Here's the deal. I get I won't say who because the name is rather odd, but if you want to check my Twitter, you can. Doubting Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts has been here in Philadelphia, while he has been here, the Eagles have had Carson Wentz, Gardner Minshew, Nate Sudfeld, Tanner McKee, now Kenny Pickett. This guy left out, I think it was Joe Flacco. 6 quarterbacks since 2020. Is he really a quarterback one? Yes. You know what's funny? He started all over all these guys. Started over these guys. All right? Definitely. Just to cut off any hate that could be happening here. But I will say this. The real talk in all of this is that I hate the idea of Jalen Hurts after a struggle end of the season where everyone was struggling. Jalen Hurts gets singled out because, yes, he's a quarterback, sexiest position we have here in Philadelphia, sexiest position we really have in American sport, most lightning rod position. I hate that people even want to put doubt out there after a year of struggling, after 2 years of being in this great ascension that was at its peak in the Super Bowl a year ago, and then literally being the odds-on favorite, being the MVP of the league before that San Francisco 49ers game, and then everything fell apart. And by everything falling apart, I mean Jalen Hurts fell apart. The Eagles' offense fell apart. The Eagles' defense was terrible. Literally firing we all know the story. Okay, anyway. 1 year, and not even just a full year, but the way the season ended, everyone acting, I shouldn't say everyone, the loud minority of people that think Jalen Hurts can't do it are getting louder and louder. And that's something I just won't stand for. Because for two things. One, the Eagles' offense is stacked. And I think Jalen Hurts, put it this way, I think Jalen Hurts would have to suck next year to not have success with this offense and this team. I think Jalen Hurts would have to be god-awful terrible for this whole season, this upcoming season, to be set ablaze. And I don't think he's going to do that. Let me repeat. He is not going to do that with his offense. Kenny Pickett being here is just what the Eagles have done all throughout forever, really. I mean, we go back to, let's go back to Nick Foles, okay? Nick Foles has a 27-2 season. Well, hell, let's go to Michael Vick. Michael Vick coming off an MVP year. Nick Foles is still here. Michael Vick gets injured. Nick Foles goes out there, MVP caliber season, excuse me. Nick Foles goes out there, takes over a team that was struggling a little bit. 27-2, rest of the way. Everything was great there. One case where the backup actually came in and did a hell of a job taking over for the starter. And then earned the job, kept the job as time went on. Nick Foles does it again, this time to Carson Wentz, goes on and wins the Super Bowl. Nick Foles seems to be the only guy that could do this. You've had Joe Flacco here. We've had Gardner Minshew here. We had Mark Sanchez here. The Eagles always like to have 2 quarterbacks. Not 2 franchise quarterbacks, but 2 quarterbacks. Because, yes, it is such an important position. They always want to make sure that they got somebody right there behind the glass in case of emergency. Break that glass, this guy coming in, and it can at least keep the offense afloat. It's going to be kind of easy, even if Kenny Pickett gets an opportunity this season for him to keep this team afloat. Like, would you rather have A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson? A healthy Deontay Johnson, okay? I'd rather have A.J. Brown. Would you rather have Dallas Goedert or Pat Freiermuth? And I like Freiermuth. He's good. He's not Dallas Goedert. A healthy Dallas Goedert. Would you rather have Najee Harris, who has all of a sudden disappeared for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Or would you rather have Saquon Barkley? Like, Kenny Pickett can come in here and have success if he gets that opportunity. And now I do the thing that I should do and everyone should do when it comes to the backup quarterback and you already have a franchise quarterback side. You hope that backup quarterback never has to play. And in the event that he does have to play, you got an embarrassment of riches on this offense. We're talking about the weapons here. Not to mention an offensive line that I still have a lot of confidence in. So the Eagles, this doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to me. I am more bummed about parting with a draft pick. Now, the Eagles supposedly offered Joe Flacco a deal to be their backup quarterback again. And Joe Flacco said, thanks, but no thanks, and he signed elsewhere. But I don't like the idea of trading and parting with assets in order to bring in a backup quarterback. Could this, in the doom and gloom of it all, in terms of having to have that quarterback controversy conversation later on. God forbid. But if Kenny Pickett gets extended time, just like I think if any quarterback got extended time with this offense, they would have success. It's up to Jalen Hurts to be a number one offense in the NFL to what he had with what he has in front of him. Because if Kenny Pickett gets an opportunity, or even taking his name out of it, again, any backup quarterback gets an opportunity with this offense, they're going to have success. I hate to say it because this is going to sound so homerish, but if this was any other team, and they already added to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert and a MVP caliber quarterback from a year ago, and they added Saquon Barkley to that mix, I'm like, that team's gonna light it up. As objective as I could be, if that happened elsewhere, I'd be like, anywhere but Dallas, because they'll mess it up. If that happened anywhere else with 30 other teams, I'd be like, damn, that team's going to be pretty awesome next year. That offense is going to be a lot of fun. That offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch. So I think any quarterback can come in here and have success. Now it's up to Jalen to show, okay, I'm not just any quarterback. I can get back to that MVP form for 17 games and get this team back to a Super Bowl. You're not going to have issues where it's the defense being the only portion of the team that gets into the end zone, like what happened in their final Dallas game of the season. That ain't happening. You are stacked, offensively speaking. When the season starts, hey, look, Howie Roseman cashed in free agency. Absolutely cashed in. Whether you like the trade or not, parting with a third-round pick. Hey, you got a third-round pick for a guy who's a first-round pick, a guy that was supposed to be a franchise quarterback, didn't work out fine. Bottom line is the Eagles have, I believe, a good backup quarterback again, which is a necessity in the NFL. Especially if you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts who has missed time in his career, as we all know. Howie Roseman is cashed in. He's allowed individual players to cash in the offseason. It's up to Jalen Hurts, Kellen Moore, and these offensive weapons to cash in during the season with victories and not stalling out. I don't even want to hear about, oh, there's got to be a grace period here. You got some new weapons. No, offensively speaking, you have one new weapon, one new featured weapon in Saquon Barkley, who's extremely versatile, who you can get the ball in the hands of, whether you're handing it to him, whether you're throwing it to him. Very versatile in that regard. And you should be used to Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. You should be used to these guys. We got to get on the same page. What about Kellen Moore? They're on the same page as Kellen Moore. That's what training camp is for. So maybe not this time around. Maybe this time you can't afford to have Camp Cupcake. And that was one of the things in thinking about this season, everybody getting on the same page, that really dawned on me about last year. You moved in here with Brian Johnson having never called plays before. Yes, he was around the team. Never called plays before. And you just had a lighter practice schedule than you did the previous season? That doesn't make any sense to me. So now you have a new guy in here, Kellen Moore. Has his schemes, has his philosophies, has the way he likes to do things, has his own cadence of how he wants to call plays, get him into the quarterback, wants to get that rhythm down. There is no excuse for having a even lighter schedule, if that's even possible, going into OTAs and training camp with Kellen Moore being here running the offense. Somebody think, oh, he's got more experience, doesn't need that practice. No. He needs that practice. Jalen Hurts needs to hear his offensive coordinator and play caller call those plays. You need to be in the huddle with Saquon Barkley. You need to get all the time in the world you can with these guys before the season starts. Because I don't want, and I hate this. I really do hate this. Any sport, not just football, where people use the word gel. Oh, they just got to gel. They got to come together. They got to gel together. Okay. Isn't that what the offseason's for? Whether you're restricted by CBA rules and all that stuff, whatever. The time that you're allowed to be together, be together. The time that you're allowed to work together, work together. The time that you're allowed to study film together, communicate, hang out, whatever the case may be, off-season regiments where you're going to God knows where to throw footballs around, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, wherever you got to go, you get on that same page. In terms of your offensive coordinator, get on the same page. Have that time in the building together as much as humanly possible. Oh, we're going to go with light. We're going to go with a lighter practice. Better not be this time around, man. Better not be this time around. There are no excuses this year. Howie Roseman has done the thing that every GM needs to do. I have given you the talent. Now show everyone how talented these guys can be together. Because there's no denying the Eagles have talent. It's a matter of Kellen Moore. It's a matter of Vic Fangio getting the most out of this talent. Devin White upset about not getting a contract in Tampa, coming to Philadelphia, getting another chance, trying to work through some injury issues he had last year. Maybe a bit of an attitude adjustment he needs. I don't know. Maybe. Getting benched. Like, imagine this. Devin White, one of the top picks in the draft, 5th overall, gets drafted, or 7th overall, gets replaced by KJ Britt last year with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. KJ Britt was a 5th-round pick out of Auburn. And he's replacing top 7 pick in the NFL draft. All because of a contract dispute, some injuries, bad attitude maybe. Now you get a fresh start here, Devin White. You have an opportunity to earn up to $7.5 million. That ain't shabby, man. That's not a bad day. That's not a bad year. It's an opportunity to restart his career. And maybe after this year, not going to be from the Eagles. Who knows? They're paying running backs now. Anything's possible. Actually, I'll put linebacker right above that. If they pay a linebacker, then anything's possible. But maybe this is the prove-it year. Maybe this is exactly what you need from a linebacker. Maybe this is, as I talked about last week with our friend Bill Colarulo on this show, when you talk about the linebacker position for the Eagles, you're talking about a guy that was banged up, you're talking about a guy that was on the outs, you're talking about a guy that had a lot of potential and hasn't reached it yet. That's Devin White. And now you're getting him on a 1-year prove-it deal? That is a nice deal to have. So he's got to go out there and he's got to play at a high level. If he wants that big linebacker money, not a lot of teams are shelling out at the moment, but if he wants as much money as possible over the next couple of years of his career in his prime, this has got to be a year where he really puts up. Got you the talent. Go have success with it. And that brings us to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. I've gotten you the talent. Go have success with it. I'll look, to me, the apology is not the lead, so we won't get there just yet. The lead is, how are you going to work with Vic Fangio? He didn't offer a lot on it. He did not seem to care. He has played in a Vic Fangio-esque scheme in Philadelphia before, under a defensive coordinator he didn't really like in Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, a lot of the same philosophies coming from Vic Fangio, so it should be interesting to see how it plays out. But his attitude is perfect. His attitude is, I'm here to be the best safety, the best teammate, the best player I can be, help this team win a Super Bowl. All I need to hear. Do I think it would be quite entertaining if, like, by week 7, maybe they're not seeing eye to eye? The Eagles are winning, but maybe they're not seeing eye to eye. CJ, GJ, CD Deuce isn't going to mince words. So I look forward to seeing how all that plays out. However, said all the right things when it came to Vic Fangio. Now, the other thing, the big lead also is why this year was different. If you remember last year during negotiations, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, CD Deuce, and his camp said that the Eagles offered a 3-year deal that was heavily backloaded. In other words, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would have signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles, been cut after the first year, so he would never have made that big money. This time around, he was answering questions on why things were different this year.
They didn't really do nothing different. We just had to figure out some things between my side and their side. I want to be here, so started something here, started a legacy here. I want to finish it here, so why not? Hop back on the train and get back to where we was at 2 years ago.
What did it take from the way things happened last year to this year ending up being back?
Take your feelings out of it and just willing to be a man about certain things, and accept certain things as a man. So I think right now coming back was like, how can I say, a relief. Because I know I'm familiar with the people here, with the place, and I'm comfortable, if that makes sense. So the difference from last year and this year is we both saw eye to eye. That makes sense.
At what point did you start thinking about this being a possibility?
I've been thinking about it. You just gotta let the time handle it. You can't handle it yourself.
So there was some air to clear. When it came to his relationship with Howie Roseman, the Philadelphia Eagles, whatever, and him, obviously. So it seems to be clear now. if you watched him, and you just probably got the vibe watching him in that press conference as well, this guy loves playing in Philadelphia. Might not have sounded like it while he was gaming and talked about how you're obnoxious. Also, the thing that's left out of this here is he called us effers. But that's not cool. That's not a compliment. There's no way that that's a compliment. Although he does say that he freaks with the weather. You know what I mean? Okay. Cool. I'm glad you like our weather that you can get in other surrounding areas. But anyway, welcome back. Welcome back. As far as the apology, I think this is the apology.
What compelled you to apologize to fans?
I'm obnoxious. I thought it was a compliment, to be honest with you. So I mean, all jokes aside, it wasn't. I was just in my feelings. You know, you want to be somewhere so bad to the point where you can't control certain things. So certain things was said, but it was no meaning to it. I mean, I'm back, so I guess we all happy. Family reunion, huh?
No.
Family reunion, huh? All right. What I said on Friday morning when I was like, all right, he's addressing the media. Yeah. Do I need an apology? I need it addressed. I can't help it. I found it really interesting that he admitted to being in his feelings. I don't think a lot of players do that. I said on Friday's show, he's probably going to admit that he was in his feelings. I think I even said he's probably in his feelings and, he's pissed off at the way things ended here in Philadelphia, feels disrespected, blah, 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 and took it out on us. And that wasn't nice, but whatever. Bottom line is, I love that he's here. I am excited that he's back. Would I have liked to have seen Xavier McKinney play in the Eagles secondary? Hell yeah. But if I can't, if the Eagles are going to lose that battle, which they did, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's next man up. You always want to look at the players on the field and have that feeling that they want to win as much as the fans in the stands want to win. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has that quality about his game. You want to have a guy that's confident. You want to have a guy that is that proverbial metaphorical Swiss Army knife in the Eagles secondary. A guy that can come up and play aggressive in the box. Again, a guy that can be the deepest man on the field. A guy that can come down and play in like the slot position. Can play in the nickel position. He could do all those things. Extremely versatile. And I'll go back to this and I will bang this drum until he proves otherwise under actually playing for Vic Fangio. Under actual Vic Fangio. Not Vic Fangio's scheme, but the freedom that the scheme allows you as a corner, as a defensive back, as a safety, the freedom that it allows you, he knows the borders of that freedom. He knows how to stay inside the lines and maybe at times push against the line a little bit. Maybe dip your toe over the line. He understands that better than most. That's one thing I learned about watching him here under Jonathan Gannon. That's one thing that I've heard Dolphins players talk about, as I've talked about a number of times already, how when you understand that freedom, you can be the best player you could possibly be. I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has a wonderful feel for what that freedom is under a Vic Fangio scheme and now the actual Vic Fangio. All those things I'm extremely excited about. The thing that makes it a little bit more fun, is the idea that this guy just has, I think, the right attitude on the football field. And, I mean, I remember when he was first brought here 2 years ago, Darius Slay just talking about, oh, man, who's going to be the bigger talker and all that stuff. And like, that's just fun. And it doesn't need to be fun, but I feel like it helps that it's fun. When you know that the players out there are having fun and they're not playing a little too tight like they were at the end of last year, there was no fun. No fun at the end of last year. It makes you feel like if adversity strikes this locker room again, they will overcome because of the attitudes on this team. It needs more than leadership. That's what I learned from last year. And I still, we had Todd Herman's on 2 weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, it's possible that, they still love their head coach, but played like that. And I was like, that is possible. I agree that it is possible. I don't think last year was a good example of that. I don't think that they were trying to get Nick fired or anything like that. But damn, man, nobody could stop the bleeding last year. And I think that more so came from the front office than it did anywhere. And maybe ultimately, That's why Josh Sweat is getting the contract, the contract extension with the Eagles, and maybe Hassan Reddick is not. I honestly think something had to change. For Josh Sweat to go from posting on social media last week, I'm going to miss y'all, to all of a sudden he's got a new deal and he's staying here in Philadelphia, I find that wild. Something really had to make an about face. Like, for him to even think he was gone is crazy. Maybe after Bryce Huff was acquired, maybe they had a conversation. I don't know. But so I feel like something absolutely had to change in the Eagles' philosophy, because Josh Sweat would be the better trade piece, younger, could get something back. You're already shipping out a 3rd-round pick when it comes to, and a 4th-round pick when it comes to Kenny Pickett. Maybe there's an opportunity here to actually gain some assets back by trading Josh Sweat, and instead they extend him. I would assume that now means the end for Hassan Reddick, because I don't know how many snaps you're going to be able to divvy up between Bryce Huff, Hassan Reddick, and Josh Sweat. I still hope Hassan Reddick's back, but how many DNs, how many edge rushers are they going to be paying on this defense? We've talked about it before when it comes to Vic Fangio and the schemes that he likes to run, and it's all about the defensive line. It's not about the blitz or anything like that. It's all about the D-line. All right, maybe if you're only going to have 4 or 5-man rushes, as we saw similarly with a little bit of consistency, especially the 5-man routes, a little bit of consistency, which, as I've heard from former defensive players in the NFL, a 5-man rush is not a blitz. Like, it's not a blitz, but it's not really a blitz, right? That's not what Gannon liked to do. That's not what Vic Fangio liked to do. But if there was any semblance of normalcy with any type of more than 4-man rush, it was 5. That was it, the bare minimum. But if you're going to have guys like that, you're going to have a philosophy like that, you want to have guys that you know can win their one-on-one battles. Enter Bryce Huff. Josh Sweat couldn't do it at the end of last year. Hassan Reddick certainly struggled last year as well. You still would like to see those guys have that opportunity to win those one-on-one battles. And the other thing that the Eagles really have to depend on this year, outside of anything on the edge, is what's on the inside. And that's Jordan Davis, that's Milton Williams, and that's, of course, above all else, Jalen Carter showing the dominance that he had in the early goings of last year, before that rookie wall came and smacked him in the face. That's what we're going to need. That's what we have to see. Jalen Carter sustained for the year. Because if you're going to have this type of scheme, you need 2 tackles up the middle just dominating. Eagles threw a bit of a curveball there. Bit of a curveball with Josh Sweat. But here we are. Extending him, not trading him. One last thing. I missed this with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, so I want to go back to it here. This was just overall about his attitude. Going to Detroit, what he learned over the last year, being away from Philadelphia and being back.
It was fun for me. I learned myself. I figured out, ball isn't always about you. It's about 50 other guys out there, the front office. So getting hurt and taking a step back and not being the focal point, made me realize I'm part of something better and greater. I want to be part of something greater and better than the one I'm at, if that makes sense. I want to be able to take that next step. And I think I made the right decision.
The Detroit Lions, by a lot of people's accounts, at the end of last year, were like this, man. Just like on the right path, the right trajectory, under Dan Campbell, doing great things. They're climbing the mountain. And the Eagles were like, oh, damn, they suck, right? And a lot of people were turning focus on the Lions and how much of a team they could be, how much of a team they could be a force and all that stuff. It's going to be a different season in the upcoming year with the Lions, not having that last place schedule, having a first place schedule and all that. So it's going to be different for the Detroit Lions this year. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson looked at it, no pun intended, from a bird's eye view and looked down on it and went, where's the best chance for me to win? And he chose Philadelphia. I think that says a lot. And you could call that homerism. You could call that Paulie pom-poms, whatever you want to call it. But it's true. The man chose Philadelphia. He wanted to be back here in Philadelphia. Could have worked out a deal in Detroit. Did not work out a deal in Detroit. Wanted to come back to Philadelphia. Wanted to be in the best possible position he could be in to win. And he chose Philadelphia. He didn't choose Detroit. This isn't the Lions of old. This is the Lions team that was just in the NFC Championship game. This is a Lions team that, oh, wow, they could come out of the gates. They beat the Chiefs. It's totally different. This is Dan Campbell implying illegal substances in his coffee, biting kneecaps off, being that field general that people love in a head football coach. The opposite of Nick Sirianni. And he chose to come here. Look, the man over his last 2 years has won a lot of football games. Now he's going to be back here in Philadelphia, hoping that he can help this team win some football games. Moving on for the and I just so I'm perfectly clear on this take, because I want to be perfectly clear on this take. I just need to say this for the people in the back of the room. Okay, Jalen Hurts is not being threatened by Kenny Pickett being added to this team. The Eagles are a better football team with a secure backup quarterback. I believe Kenny Pickett is a secure backup quarterback. He can come in, just like many quarterbacks in the NFL with this offense, and have success. I am happy Kenny Pickett is here. That is a good pickup by Howie Roseman. Do I wish they would have maybe a little more of a scrap heap and not necessarily a young up-and-coming guy? Let's not forget the words. Quarterback. Nice job. Okay. All right. Happy Kenny Pickett's here. Jalen Hurts' job. Moving on. Your 10-9-8 76ers remain confident now that Joel Embiid, we talked about this on Friday with John Clark's interview, or report, excuse me, from NBC Sports Philadelphia, that the 76ers are confident Joel Embiid will come back in the last week or two of the season, play a little bit, and then get into the playoffs. Oh, boy. Tyrese Maxey gets a bloody nose against the Charlotte Hornets this weekend. Sixers are able to still pull out the victory, 109-98. Maxey drops in 30 points on the Hornets. Great to see that. Sixers get their 37th win of the season. They improved to 37-30. As for the standings in the NBA right now, where your Sixers are, they have fallen into the play-in tournament. Right now, here's where the Sixers sit. 8th seed. And they got the Miami Heat just above them in the 7th seed. Both are 16 games out of first place in the Eastern Conference. And what did you know it? 7:30 tonight, the Miami Heat and Philadelphia 76ers square off. Both 37-30 on the year. They are a half game behind the Indiana Pacers to move up into that 6th spot. They are 2.5 games behind the Orlando Magic of all teams for the 5th seed. And that's where we are right now in the NBA. I got to say, so Maxey comes back from the 4-game absence with the concussion, looks off, 17 points in his first game back. Then he comes back the second game, has 18 points in the first half alone. And then this game here against the Hornets, just a much different story there for Tyrese Maxey. Looked a hell of a lot better through and through. Saw the aggression there from Maxey, saw the ability to take control. Loved the idea that you, in an opportunity there with Tyrese Maxey being out over the weekend, KJ Martin got some run, which was great to see. Still, for whatever reason, Ricky Council IV not getting the run that I would like to see him get. I mean, you talk about a guy that plays with the right mindset, a guy that plays with the right mentality. That's him. I would love to see Ricky Council IV make a little bit more, have an opportunity to make a little bit more of an impact on this team. And Kelly Oubre has been a little bit more, like, he's never not been aggressive. I don't want to paint the wrong picture here, but in terms of just attacking the rim, he's been doing that. It seems like a higher rate over the last couple of games here. I don't know if that's something from Nick Nurse or what, but that's something that I absolutely love seeing from Kelly Oubre, attacking the rim, not just depending on the outside shot. So I love seeing that. But anyway, tonight, your 76ers, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be squaring off against the Miami Heat. Looking forward to that one, 7:30 start time in South Philadelphia. And the Sixers have a bit of a trip. They got They go out west after that. But 7:30 start time. Sixers are favored by 2.5 points. I'll be sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for that game tonight. Flyers Wives Carnival. Before I go any further, Flyers Charities Carnival. I was there yesterday. I'm putting a package together. Should be ready for tomorrow's show. I got dunked, and I got dunked by actually two celebrities. One celebrity, I'll actually tell you the story right now. I'm sitting on the dunk tank, having myself a time, Water was warmer than normal, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Flyers. And out of nowhere, I just see out of the corner of my eye this huge dude appear. And I'm watching, there's this kid throwing the ball, and I'm watching him, and out of the corner of my eye, I just see this huge guy. And I'm like, what the? And I turn, and the person winds up as big as they could to slap the big red button to dunk me. And just before they hit it, I see it as none other than Hugh Lamont Douglas III. Number 53 himself, Hugh Douglas, my old friend, slapping the red button, and I go down. And I'm like, that's one for you, Hugh. That's one for you. The other celebrity, and we have video of this. Shout out to Juliana, the Flyers intern, that was running the dunk tank yesterday. And she was running it, man. She was running it. She got great video. I'll put it all together for you guys tomorrow. But out of nowhere, I see the two security guards, green ties for St. Patrick's Day. And then I see a big orange leprechaun. And sure enough, it was Gritty. Gritty. In all the orangeness, walking right up to the dunk tank, eyeballing me with his googly, beady eyes. And I don't know how he did it, but or how Gritty did it, but Gritty, I swear, Gritty was throwing about 75 miles per hour. I don't know how anyone could throw 75 miles per hour with all that on, but good Lord. I'm telling you, man, I'm sitting there, I'm like, that was full wind-up. Just zipping him in there. And then I'll just let you know how it ended tomorrow when I show the video. So shout out to the Flyers, to Gritty, and everyone that came out to the Flyers Carnival yesterday to help a great cause, of course. Let me tell you about the great people at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Take advantage of all they have to offer at mybookie.ag. March Madness, ladies and gentlemen, is upon us. Bet on it all at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. You can do it. Just download the app. Create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Take advantage of all they have to offer. How about the Game Time app? You want to go to any of these March Madness games, ladies and gentlemen? Do it with the Game Time app. Want to go to the Sixers game? Want to go to a Flyers game? Game Time app is where it's at. If you want to get tickets, download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Not too shabby. On the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy. You'll get the last-minute ticket deals, the flash ticket deals, even deals for when tickets are on sale an hour after the event starts. So if you're going to a comedy show, going to a concert, you might miss the opening act, but you won't miss the big show on the Game Time app. For mega huge Kajunga savings, by the way, on the Game Time app. Also, all-in pricing, so you're never surprised at the end. Game Time app is where it's at. Excuse me. I think the dunk tank got me sick. No, all right. PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, to answer your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Monday morning. Hope you guys are all recovered and whatnot from going out on St. Patrick's Day. It's been a while since I went out on St. Patrick's Day. I am not Irish. I let my Irish friends really have their day because they deserve it. And I love the social media post that goes around on St. Patrick's Day to all non-Irish folk. Thank you to the Irish for inventing the best way to leave a party. In my cultural ancestry, the Irish exit does not exist. Both sides of my family, the Italian side, the Polish side, there are no such things as Irish exits. Everybody's hugs and kisses. And then once that first round of hugs and kisses, you have the conversation with somebody that you didn't have the conversation with at the gathering. You talk to them for 20 more minutes. And then by then the kids are sweating because they're still in their coats that you put them in. And then you have to do another round of goodbyes. And then by that time, you're kind of hungry, so you sit down and you eat. That's mostly the Italian side. And then have a couple shots of vodka. That's the Polish side. That's the, yeah. There's no such thing as the Irish accent in my family, is what I'm telling you. But so to the Irish people, what is it? You save 2 days a year? Is that the average? With the amount of time you save and the goodbyes at every party? My kid's a young man. I don't party as much as I used to. Let's see what you guys got here. Sean Kilrain, what's going on? Oh, Sean Gillespie going on. Sean Kilrain, good morning. Sean Risco, you are not obnoxious. I'm not obnoxious. I get a little obnoxious at times, I'm told, per reports. Haters on Twitter. Andrew Dirk, what's going on? Kenny freaking Pickett, not sure how I feel. All right. This is a common thing I think a lot of Eagles fans experienced over the week. Now, there's comparison between the Kenny Pickett deal and the Justin Fields deal. Justin Fields, you don't have as much control as you have with Kenny Pickett, okay? So Kenny Pickett, you have to give up a little bit more. I think in the Eagles case, they give up a lot more, all right? Is it breaking the bank? No. Is it breaking the draft bank? No. Am I upset about it? Not really. Do I love it? No. But you know what I do love? And this is how you should feel about it. You want to know that you got a good backup quarterback. Can Kenny Pickett? Can Penny Pickett? Sorry. Can Kenny Pickett come in to this offense, shining bright lights, and have success? Yes. Kenny Pickett can come in and have success. In the event that something happens with Jalen Hurts, knock on wood, that never happens. So look, unless I really do think that the starting core, like I thought Michael Vick was done, and Michael Vick was done. I was right. I was very much right about Michael Vick. The year after that, like MVP-esque season, still Andy Reid being here, I was like, the Eagles need to start Nick Foles. If you remember, wow, this is really going back, but I think it was the last year of Andy Reid. No, because was it? No, it was the Dream Team year. Whatever it was. Michael Vick it was 2011. Yeah. Michael Vick is hurt in the preseason. The Eagles have just drafted Nick Foles. Nick Foles plays throughout the preseason, plays well. And I'm like, just keep playing him. Vick was still nursing a hand injury. Start him against the Browns. Play him against the Browns. Just see how it goes. And I was like, just keep on going with Nick Foles. This Nick Foles guy, let's see how this goes. And that's not to say I knew he was going to win a Super Bowl. That's not to say he was going to be 27-2. But I'm like, just keep the momentum going, baby. Just keep the momentum going. They didn't do that. They brought Michael Vick in. They barely scraped by the Browns. They ended up having a terrible year. It was not good. So I very rarely ever root for the backup quarterback to get playing time. But that particular year, I was like, no, let's make the transition here. I don't like what I'm seeing from Vic. Anyway, or at least give Foles a shot. That might be the only time I ever rooted for the backup quarterback. Maybe when Randall Cunningham was backing up Rodney Peete, I was rooting for Randall Cunningham. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Those are the two times. I'm not rooting for Kenny Pickett to play. Even when Jalen Hurts was here with Carson Wentz and Carson Wentz was setting the season ablaze and everything was awful with Carson Wentz, I still wanted the Eagles to bench Carson Wentz and then put in Jalen Hurts and then go back to Carson Wentz. Like, get the little wake-up call for Carson Wentz, see how he would respond, and then go. Then when he fails, because I thought he was going to fail, then go to Jalen Hurts full-time. They just played Jalen Hurts full-time after that. Named him the starter. And then we know how that ended. But I don't root for the backup quarterback. I want the franchise guy to be the franchise guy. You always want to believe that the starting quarterback of your football team should be the starting quarterback of your football team. Jalen Hurts in particular should be the starting quarterback of this football team. It's not even a discussion. But I'm saying for later in the year, if there's struggles, oh man. No excuses for struggles with this offense. Oh, we had to get on the same page. Okay, that's what OTAs, that's training camp. That's what all that's for. That's why you bring in an experienced play caller. So, Andrew Dirk, back to your point. You're not sure how to feel? You should feel good that you have a backup quarterback. You have a backup quarterback who has started games in this league. And you got a great offense, and you could pretty much plug and play a lot of different quarterbacks in the NFL, and they would have success. Joe Flacco being one of them. That's why the Eagles try to work out a deal with him first. Jack Stahl signed with the Giants. Jack Stahl, you're dead to us. Everyone hate Jack Stahl now. One Guapo. Nice to see you. Oh, Sean, yeah. Yeah, Kenny Pickett's a mobile quarterback, man. I think you need to be somewhat mobile in this offense. And I know Kellen Moore is not going to be calling quarterback draws and a lot of RPOs, if any. I think you have to. If Saquon Barkley says run an RPO, you got to run an RPO. And Saquon Barkley said that at his press conference. But no, Kenny can run, man. Kenny can move. Kenny did something when he was at Pitt that I think is a horrible move. And if you haven't seen it, it's the fake slide. So he's running as a quarterback, past the line of scrimmage, running for yards, and he's got a defender in front of him, and he goes up like he's going to go into a slide, and then he picks up and goes again and runs again, keeps running. That is a very dangerous play. That could get other people hurt. But yeah, I like him. I liked him coming out of Pittsburgh. Stahl was always dead to us, says Sean Gillespie. I think it's a fair trade. They get Jack Stahl. We get Saquon Barkley. Fair trade. Who will have more touchdowns for the rest of their career? Jack Stahl or Saquon Barkley? April. What's going on, April? Opeta signed with the Bucks. Thank you, Sean Kilrain. Cage Corbett. What's going on? We gave a third round for him, but got back a fourth. We got back a fourth? When I was reading, it was a little convoluted. Let me go back to this. Where Penny kick it? All right, I think this is a different story. Let me see if this has it a little better. Allora. Traded to the Philadelphia along with a fourth round pick. Thank you. Okay. In exchange for a third round pick and 2 7ths. All right, that makes more sense. Okay, thank you, Cage. I like that better. Twiz, what's going on? Cage, as far as Hurts, the collapse was on his watch. Not the sign of a great leader. He is not the only one to blame, but still concerning. Fair. I don't feel like that's a hater comment. Jalen haters expect Jalen to be the next coming, not the best quarterback that the Eagles have access to, and he has delivered. Okay. Amazing free agency the Eagles have had, brother. Thank you, Mr. International. Amazing free agency the Eagles have had, brother. Absolutely. And you know what's really crazy? Pro Football Focus, CBS, NBC, I believe as well. All have not given like A pluses to the Eagles. Like their argument, a lot of it is that, oh, well, they got better at where they were already pretty good. Okay, well, doesn't that make you great? Like, what? You're going to fault them for bringing in Saquon Barkley? Well, they already had a dominant offense. Did they? Didn't feel like that last year. Sean Cronin, I need Howie to have a lights-out draft come April. Get the needs of linebackers, backup running back, some offseason linemen, offensive lineman, and a wide receiver. I am not as much looking at a wide receiver as other people. But another backup running back, absolutely. Linebackers, keep them coming. And let's see how this pans out. Hells yeah, man. Hells yeah. Sean, what's going on? I could see us doing some trading back in this draft to recoup some 7th-round draft picks. We lost with Kenny's acquisition, possibly. Here we go. Mr. International. I am very hyped to see the Eagles schedule. If it's even a little bit, then a little better than last year's schedule, they'll help us tremendously. I concur. 7th rounders in next year's draft. Pickett is, what's up, Dan Quan? Dank one. Who won? Dank one. Pickett is a cost-effective backup. Thank you. I concur. Hutch. Kenny Pickett is a fine backup for the next couple seasons. If Hurts gets hurt, he can manage a couple games for the team. Hurts isn't worried about this guy. Absolutely, Hutch. Great way to put it. Yes, Sean Gillespie, the draft is not one of Howie's strengths. I concur. Really? Helix 2. CJGJ CD Deuce is my favorite pickup. He was hurt when he left. Yes, he was. I agree. God forgive. What's going on? My guy, family reunion. Absolutely. Water under the bridge. He's back, baby, says Twiz. God forgive. Howie hitting all cylinders. Last year, what's up, Stoney? Last year, the defense forgot the bend part and just broke. That's funny. That's a good one. I like that. Is Sweat still getting traded on an easier deal now to offer other teams? I don't know. The interesting report from Jeremy Fowler was that he'll be staying around. I think if he's adding that part of it, then he knows the speculation was that he was going to be moved, and you're not doing this deal to trade him. You could still, to be honest with you, I have no feel for the Eagles right now. I have no feel for the Eagles and what their next move is. They have thrown curveball after curveball, and I have loved every second of it. Because like I tell you guys all the time, I root to be wrong in a lot of instances. Like what my prediction isn't what I want to happen. Like when we followed the bouncing ball through Saquon Barkley, I was like, Eagles aren't paying a running back. They're not signing Saquon Barkley. They're just driving up the price. Literally, we had the report from Pat Leonard. We had the report from Howard Eskin. We had the report. I hit a button there. We had the report from Mike Lombardi, the clown Mike Lombardi. And I'm like, not happening. No way, no how. Hour later, Eagles sign Saquon Barkley. Saquon, all this is crazy. Wait a minute. God forgive. I'd rather have Hassan over both. You rather have Hassan over Huff and Sweat? That's interesting. I mean, I can see why. That's if you're saying that, then you really think this Bryce Huff deal is bat you know what crazy. If that's what you're saying, then you think this Huff deal is bonkers. Cease to breathe. Okay. What's going on? 215. 11. 11. Send the house. That's funny. It's the inside that counts, says Dank 1. Pick 22, definitely a lineman. I still think they're going to want to go corner. I know it goes against all the philosophy in the world when it comes to Howie Roseman and them not drafting corners number one or in the first round. But I still think they're going to lean heavily to the cornerback position. Rieger over Justin Jack. Oh, don't I know. Pretty stupid. Rieger is the all-time classic. Jalen Rieger. Yep. Sean. It still hurts my heart to this day. Everyone knew Justin Jefferson. Everyone. It was hard to mess that up. The Vikings laughing that the Eagles passed up on him for Jalen Rieger. Oh, geez, Twiz. The picket line is growing as we speak. Oh. Joe Whip, what's going on? Fire Maury and bring in Jay Wright. An executive role for Jay Wright, not a head coach. I think he goes to coach before he goes to executive role. But Joe Whip, that's interesting. I haven't heard of Jay Wright to be a executive in the NBA before anything else. Eagles will bring back Super Bowl later this decade. We'll be back in the Super Bowl later this decade. Just got to get the depth, including linebacker, lineman, and the right assistants. Hopefully they have that this year, Mia Sanchez. Jonathan Harvey, St. Patty's Day is an insult to the Irish. It's the slaughter of Irish people called Druids. Thank you, Jonathan. by the Druids or the Druids. I don't know. I always thought the snakes were a metaphor. April, what's going on? Irish goodbye is so underrated. I can get away with it on one side of the family, definitely not the Italian side. What are we doing? Why Niners Why? Good morning. Good week. Absolutely. Thanks for the positivity, Farzy. Haven't seen The Little Princess lately. When's the best guest coming back on? So she's actually been doing a much better job. Lil Toots have been doing a much better job of sleeping in, which my wife and I greatly appreciate, especially because Leo, my son, is 2, and Leo is huge. My son has a huge ass, okay, for a 2-year-old. Like Jeff, I want to have Jeff Stoutland over. Maybe I'll bring my son to Jeff Stoutland. I'll be like, okay, look, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but you got to see my 2-year-old son. This guy can move mountains. When Todd Harriman said, what did he say? Ass moves, big mass moves ass. That's my son. That's my son. So anyway, he's huge, and he is so close to crawling out of his crib. So we're at the point now where you do this. You put padding down, right? So when they crawl out, when they climb over the top, they have this little cushion to land on. But we're like right at that point, man. And I feel so bad for my wife because with baseball season coming up, I'm going to be doing games every night. Stay tuned for an announcement on that. I'm going to be doing on some post-game stuff. So stay tuned on that. But my wife is going to be fully in charge of bedtime. So good luck to her on that. But Lil Toots is sleeping in a little bit more now, so that's good. Hail X2, what's going on? Farzy, what is your favorite bit of business this offseason so far? It's the most obvious thing, and I hate to be so obvious, but I absolutely love Saquon Barkley. I have been a huge Saquon Barkley fan. I am not a Penn State fan. I've said this many times. I'm not a Penn State fan. I loved watching Saquon Barkley at Penn State. I don't like the New York Giants. I loved watching Saquon Barkley play for the New York Giants. I think he is a wildly talented running back. I think he is at worst, top 3 running back in the NFL. He is now in your backfield with Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steed blocking for him. 2 of those names don't have the sex appeal yet of the other 3, but at least one of them I think is going to be pretty damn good. Oof. Jonathan Harvey. Kenny is considered trash by some Steelers fans and non-fans, but a treasure by Howie. Kenny was thrown to the fire in Pittsburgh and under a poor offensive coordinator named Canada. Yeah. Kenny, blame Canada. Kenny in a better situation. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. You would have to be really, really bad. Really, really bad. Really bad at quarterback to lose with weapons like this. Or to at least not put up points, to struggle. Good deal. I know he was good in college, and to be honest, Pittsburgh wasn't really good last year. Yeah. If Fields was there, Philly would definitely be calling for him to come in. Oh, yeah. I agree. KJ. What's all this Jack Stahl hate? What's up, bud? Those picket trade details have been all over the place. You know what? So after the first report, I started reading stories as opposed to just taking the easy route. Let me just see if I can punch this up real quick. Because originally when I read, I thought it was a 3rd and a 4. And then 7th rounders next year. Yeah. No, that's Justin Fields. Come on with your sass. Scrolling. They see me scrolling. They hate. Oh, yeah. Tyron Smith going to damn it. The Jets. That's fun. Sorry, Cowboys. Well, I mean, we pretty much already knew that he was done there. Sona que Sona. All right, this ain't coming up. I'm not spending any more time on it. Oh, wait, here we go. Hold on. All right. Looking at Pittsburgh outlets. All right, I'm not spending any more time on this. Bottom line, Kenny Pickett's your backup quarterback. Bottom line is they give up a third-round pick, got back and forth. I'm not pissed off. KJ, some bozo gave Saquon a C-. That's stupid. If it would have been like a 5-year deal, that's stupid. This is essentially a 2-year deal, $26 million. I think, Jonathan Harvey, I think you're right. I think Justin Fields would be a little bit more of a threat than Kenny Pickett. Yeah, did you see that? Yes, thank you, Mr. International. $39 million. $39 million of cap space still to play with. More pressure on the D-line. Anybody I missed here? Johnny G, what's going on? Johnny G! What's up, brother? Doctor, nice to see you. Good morning. Really looking forward to see what this offseason, I keep going offseason. What this offense can do this year, especially now with Saquon and a new coaching staff. I'll put it to you like this, John. Last year at this time, we were talking about new coordinators, bringing in 2 new guys, how that would work. Elevating Brian Johnson, later finding out Sean Desai would be the Eagles defensive coordinator. Going through the offseason, is like, who is Sean Desai? What is he going to do? Fangio disciple, worked for Vic Fangio, all that. Now we have proven commodities. We have guys that not only have the experience, 24 times the experience of our previous coordinators. We have those guys coming in here to run the ship. I don't have question marks about the guys. I only have question marks about how the team is going to work with the guys and how the guys are going to work with the team. Kellen Moore with Jalen Hurts, Vic Fangio with this defense, how he's going to add to this defense. It's all very interesting. So I'm going to keep on. Okay. Thank you. Here it is from the Pittsburgh Steelers. From Steelers receive a 3rd-round pick this year. Eagles get a 4th-round pick this year. Okay. So essentially, the Steelers move up in the 3rd round. Eagles go back into the 4th round. The Steelers also get 2 7th-round picks next year, and the Eagles get Kenny Pickett. So yeah, I'm fine with that. No complaints. For all the Howie hate, look what the Cowgirl. Yeah. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful. So new faces in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Thanks. And Cage, thanks for keeping me honest there. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. As I mentioned, your 76ers tipping off tonight, 7:30 against the Miami Heat in South Philadelphia. Edge of my chair for that one. No question. Your Philadelphia Flyers. After their Flyers Carnival, again, stuff tomorrow. Video on that. Bruins, after the Bruins lost, when they lost 6-5, they're back at it against the Maple Leafs, who they just got torched by 6-2. They host the Maple Leafs tomorrow night in South Philly. So that'll be all sorts of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Thanks for joining me on this fine Monday morning. Be back with you guys tomorrow morning, Tuesday. Breakdown, whatever the Eagles give us. Never know. And also, what the hell's going to go down with the Sixers taking on the Heat in a must-win situation for your 76ers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel, as well as the Jacob Media YouTube channel. All sorts of funsies throughout the week, that's for sure. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See you tomorrow morning. Bye.